Alright, let's get this started. There's a bunch of new Epstein files that dropped as of the time of me recording this. Don't know when this video is going to go live. Hopefully soon after I record this, but I have so much other backlog that I just have no idea what the schedule of uploads is going to look like by the time this video goes live, so I guess we'll see. Only time will tell. But, yeah, new Epstein files dropped. There's a lot of stuff to talk about here. Though it is a 16-minute long video, so, yeah, we got our favorite coverage talking about it, which is CoffeeZilla, so let's just get this party farted.
The FBI just dropped 3.5 million files, and it is incredible. Huge bombshells about some of the most powerful people on the planet. I can't believe they let some of this stuff out. I mean, it is stunning. Honestly, one of the...
I mean, like, they are trying to pin... I mean, mainly because, like, at first they were trying to pin it on, like, Bill Clinton. So, I mean, it makes sense that they were trying to incriminate Bill Clinton. He's a Democrat. I mean, I have said it before, and I'll say it again. I do not care that the Epstein files... it could be a majority Democrats, and I still think that they should release the files. Like, if it... Again... A child sex trafficking ring is something that I think the public deserves to know, especially if we are allowing the president of the United States to be our president who was on Epstein Island, and he promised to release the Epstein files, and now he refuses to do it the moment he's in office because he realizes, oh shit, I'm heavily incriminated on here. Apparently in these, like, new Epstein files releases, Donald Trump is on there a couple of times. I don't know if that was like an oversight by the Department of Justice, but I guess we're about to see.
The biggest lies we've seen is the idea that the FBI could possibly come to us and say, not only is there not a client list, there was no credible evidence that Epstein blackmailed prominent individuals. Guys, we're about to...
Oh, yeah, of course. Yeah, damn it, Kash Patel fucking lying on oath. And then, oh yeah, I remember Kash Patel. He specifically said that there's no evidence that Donald Trump is implicated on the Epstein list, and apparently, like, literally there's evidence that Trump is implicated with Epstein in list, so that would pretty much mean that Kash Patel lied under oath. Like, this is the most fucking corrupt administration, like, ever. This is insane.
See, planned blackmail to one of the most powerful people on the planet, and that is Bill Gates. Listen, there's a lot we're gonna get to, but we have to start with probably the craziest revelation here, which is Jeffrey Epstein emailing himself about Bill Gates. Now, if you don't know, Bill Gates and Epstein had a relationship post-2008. That's a big year. You're going to hear a lot today because 2008 was the time that Epstein pled guilty for soliciting of somebody under the age of 18. He was a predator at this point. Everybody knew it. Now, eventually, Bill Gates would get divorced when all of this came out. Melinda Gates said it was part of the direct cause for the divorce. She said she met Epstein and said he was evil.
He was evil personified.
So you have to understand.
So it seemed like Melinda Gates, who is the ex-wife of Bill Gates, it seems like she had some very, like, weird vibes. It's kind of similar. It almost reminds me of, Papa Gut, not for that reason. Hear me out for just a second. Papa Gut and his wife has really good intuition about who's, like, a bad person. So, that's kind of like what that reminds me of. Hey, listen, to all the men out there who are married, like, your wife probably has good intuition on shit. If you're married to a good woman, that is. And it seems like Melinda had some pretty... Now, speaking of Melinda and Bill Gates, I cannot talk about it too much because it's just not public. I may or may not have insider information... Here's the thing. I cannot say anything because it is not public information. But let's just say I know a guy who knows a guy that has, like, insider information in Microsoft regarding the stuff that happened. And that's all I'm going to say. I can't say anything more about that. It's all alleged. It's all rumored. There's some pretty crazy stuff. I don't want to get people in trouble, though. I'm not trying to protect pedophiles, by the way, but before people ask that, I know people are going to get suspicious when they go that. They're like, oh, he's trying to protect pedophiles. No, I'm not doing that. I'm mainly, like, protecting people from not losing their jobs at Microsoft more than anything else. Nothing to do, like, but yeah, it's basically about, like, Bill Gates and all that stuff. That's as much as I'm going to say. I can't say anything else. If it ever goes public, I will promise you guys that I will make a follow-up video talking about that piece of information if that ever goes public. And I will refer back to the timestamp of this video. Guys, hold me to it. Fucking hold me to it.
This is like Bill Gates' kryptonite. He's one of the richest men on the planet. He's got this huge philanthropy arm. But this relationship with Epstein has been a huge problem for him. And Epstein appears to have known that because in 2013, Bill Gates appears to be distancing himself from Jeffrey Epstein, and Epstein seems to have a problem with that. He says, I assume the dedication to our relation went both ways. Larry has now asked me to recommit to a confidentiality agreement. Basically, he's got to shut up about his relationship with Bill Gates. And this is where the blackmail starts, and it comes in the form of like, if I were you, I would do X if I were the type of guy that you should be. He says, in that regard, I suggest I buy you the house that you had your heart set on. In addition to 5 years of severance, we'll buy you out of the investment contract we agreed upon, 30 to 40% of an $100 million partnership for $30 million in today's terms. That's what I would have done had I been in your shoes. Then he lays out what he...
Well, yeah, I mean, it, like... it's hard for me to feel bad that, like, these, like, big fucking billionaires are getting blackmailed when, like, they decided to do dirty-ass shit on Epstein Island to begin with, so... Kind of tough for me to feel bad for you.
He has on Bill Gates, or what he says he has. Quote, to add insult to injury, you subsequently, with tears in your eyes, implore me to delete the emails I had regarding your STD. Your request that I provide you antibiotics that you could surreptitiously give to Melinda, and the description of your... I mean, this is insane. It's completely insane. It's like...
Yeah, so it makes you wonder. Bill Gates was talking with Jeffrey Epstein about an STD. Now, I don't know about you guys, but talking about a sexually transmitted disease is not information I would just talk to anyone about. So it makes you wonder, why would Bill Gates trust Epstein enough to talk about his STD? And how did that conversation come up to begin with? Makes you wonder, there's probably some sexual implications regarding the people on Epstein Island. You know, that's probably why the conversation came up to begin with. Like, these are the things that you guys got to think about.
Basically laying out in text form, I would give me millions of dollars, and I can't believe you're asking me to delete the message where you were going to give STD medication to your wife without her knowledge. I mean, it's complete. It's crazy. It's just completely obvious what he's doing here. It's just a nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Here's what you should do. But now that coming out after Epstein's death, this looks really bad for Gates, obviously, because you usually wouldn't blackmail somebody for something that's completely false or fake. I mean, maybe he did that. But we also know Bill Gates had affairs. Obviously, Melinda credits it for their divorce. So it's hard to believe there was nothing sketchy going on. Bill Gates, of course, maintains that it was completely above board. He says the fact this allegation was in here just shows how much Epstein was willing to defame people. But Epstein lays it out. He says he helped Bill get drugs in order to deal with the consequences of sex with Russian girls.
That's fucking crazy. I know Bill Gates on Twitter denied the allegations of sex with Russian girls. Now, obviously, this is public knowledge at this point, so I can talk about this part. There's a lot of other shit that I just cannot talk about, though, but let's just say there's a bombshell about Bill Gates that I think is crazy that I fucking just got. Again, if it ever goes public, guys, hold it to me. Fucking remind me. If it ever goes public, I will talk about it on the channel. That's as much as we're going to say about it. And honestly, and also another thing I should note is it is a rumor and it's alleged, so I don't want to just say that it's a fact, but that is like something that is like very, it's juicy information. That's all I'm going to say. And it's not really, I guess one final thing I'll say about it is it's not going to harm any victims if I keep my mouth shut about it. That I know people are going to get suspicious. They're going to think, well, Icon, you might be protecting pedophiles by withholding this information. No, the reason why I'm withholding it is mainly because I don't want to get people in trouble at Microsoft. Because technically, I'm not supposed to know about it. And you guys technically aren't either. So, I'm going to leave it at that. But, again, hold it to me if it ever goes public.
Facilitating his illicit trysts with married women, and to being asked to provide Adderall for bridge tournaments. Look, guys, this is exactly what we suspected the whole time. Epstein was providing services to rich people and expecting payment via blackmail. Now you might say, and it's true, that we don't know that Epstein ultimately sent that version of an email to Gates. All we know is he sent that to himself. He may have planned the blackmail and just been drafting something. But what we do know are two things. The Wall Street Journal has reported that Gates was threatened by Epstein over an affair. We also know that after this blackmail email Jeffrey sent to himself was written, eventually Gates sent a $2 million donation to MIT directed by Jeffrey Epstein.
Interesting. In late 2014, Bill Gates sent a fucking $2 million donation that Jeffrey Epstein had some level of ties to. Oh, man. That's interesting. That's...
Which is a bit weird if you had distanced yourself from the guy and y'all had this big fall.
Yeah, I mean, I could have sworn that, like, Bill Gates was trying to distance himself from Epstein in 2013, which was a year prior to October 2014. Very, very odd stuff going on there.
Falling out. Now, again, do we know for sure that Bill Gates did all of that? No, of course we don't. But do I think Bill Gates was innocently looking for charity advice?
No, definitely not.
From a after he already pled guilty? No, I don't. I'm sorry. I'm not that gullible.
Yeah, no. There's definitely something very shady going on there.
And speaking of not that gullible, we've been lied to also by another richest guy on the planet. Geez, it's a shock why they don't want to put this out.
Our favorite Elon Musk. Even though Elon Musk was pretty much saying, like Elon Musk says that the Epstein files should be released. And by the way, we have to remember, Elon Musk was the reason why this whole Epstein shit went back on the map. Like, that's the reason, like, if you remember back in early June of 2025, Elon Musk put out a tweet saying that the real reason the Epstein files are not going to get released is because Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, and that's the real reason they haven't been released yet. Which, by the way, seems to be true, like, as time goes on, because Trump, like, refuses to release the files, and the DOJ refuses to release every single part of the Epstein files. So, it's looking more and more to be true, but it's even weirder because Elon Musk seems to have some level of ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And to make matters worse, with people constantly posting about it, Elon Musk is, like, crashing out on Twitter, and he's, like, responding over and over again, being like, this is false, this is that, this is that, this is that. Like, he's responding to it over and over again, so I sense Elon Musk is gonna, like, really crash out soon about this, because that's fucking crazy. And also, Elon had to have known that if there was something implicating about him, that he wouldn't have signal boosted it in June of 2025 to begin with, right?
Elon Musk, who has been saying for years that it is a lie that he went to Epstein's island. In fact, he says he refused to go. From Elon, he says, Epstein tried to get me to go to his island. I refused.
It's interesting because, like, when was this tweet put out?
He says anyone pushing this false narrative deserves complete contempt. Later responding to another headline.
I don't know when these articles were. I would like to know when the date of these articles and, like, the tweet was out.
Which said Elon Musk
not blaming CoffeeZilla. Like, generally speaking, his coverage is, like, very good, and he's not like dishonest or irresponsible when it comes to his coverage. It's just like I would just like to know the tweets. That's all.
And trip to Epstein's private island, and he said
Virgin Islands in December 2014. This tweet is from September 2025.
As this is false. But of course, we start to dig through the files, and we can see on Epstein's calendar that Elon Musk is booked in December 6th of 2014. But maybe you don't believe that. That's just the word of Jeffrey Epstein. But maybe you'll believe the word of Elon Musk, who was caught.
Interesting. So yeah, basically this email was exchanged with Elon and Jeffrey back in December of 2013. Okay.
Emailing Jeffrey Epstein to go to his island.
I will send a heli for you. Damn. Man, imagine billionaires fucking lying. Imagine that. Billionaires not telling the truth about something. Crazy. Who would have guessed that Elon Musk, the #1 pusher of disinformation on his own platform, would lie about something?
The guilty plea. Elon Musk writes, will be in BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Good time to visit. Jeffrey Epstein says, I will send a heli for you. Later, Elon Musk writes to Epstein, probably just to Lula and me, his ex-wife, what day and night would be the wildest party on your island? The world's richest man.
That's crazy. Elon wanted to get a little bit fucking freaky on the island. I mean, listen, you have to remember, Elon Musk has like 14 kids that he can hardly take care of, and they're all from like separate wives. If it was from one wife, Jesus Christ, that would be like insane. Like, imagine taking care of 14 kids from one wife. That's crazy to me. I'm pretty sure Elon Musk does it because he feels like he's doing his job by like repopulating the earth with as many kids as possible, even if he can't like take care of all of them meaningfully, and especially if he works like 15 hours a day, both for X and like Tesla and like doing all these things. I mean, Elon Musk is like a fucking rich dad that doesn't like look after his own kids times like a million, basically. So yeah, it seems like he wanted to get more freaky and continue his work by creating more kids on the incorrect island, that is.
Man is asking the most pedophile man for the wildest party on his island. And then it gets more explicit. In 2012, remember, this is the guy who said, I refused it. I could never do that.
I refused it. So this was, okay, so if we look at the timeline, that email was sent to Jeffrey Epstein in 2013. This is December 2012.
Right? It's false. But here in 2012, he says, do you have any parties planned? I've been working to the edge of my sanity this year. I really want to hit the party scene in St. Bart's or elsewhere and let loose. The invitation is much appreciated, but a peaceful island experience is the opposite of what I'm looking for. Guys,
that's fucking crazy. Oh, doesn't get any more damning than that, I guess. I guess it could. Maybe there could be, like, fucking photos of Elon Musk with young girls or whatever, so I guess it could get worse, but the implications seem to be there.
He can't even play the, I went to go study math excuse, which is what all these guys do. They say, hey, I just went to go talk to scientists.
Yeah, interesting. That's what all the predators on Chris Hansen do. They're like, I just wanted to help out a 13-year-old girl. That's all. She seemed like she was in a lot of trouble, so I just wanted to come over to help her out, you know, and hang out with her and stuff, you know, just get to know her as a 40-year-old man. As a 40-year-old man, I'm just trying to get to know that 13-year-old girl, you know what I'm saying?
Elon's like, hey, I don't want to do that. I'm looking for a party. That's what
fucking insane.
I'm here to do. And then Jeffrey Epstein writes, understood, I will see you on St. Barth. The ratio on my island might make your ex-wife uncomfortable. I can't believe these guys are lying to us and people are swallowing it.
Again, who would have thought Elon Musk, the pusher of disinformation on his own platform, would lie about shit? Oh my gosh. Color me surprised.
Still thinking that Elon Musk had nothing to do with this guy. So again, that's 2012. That's 2014. But guess what? There's another time in 2013. I mean, this seems like a yearly thing with the boys. Here, once again, Elon Musk writes, we'll be in the BVI St. Bart's area over the holidays. Again, is there a good time to visit? Jeffrey Epstein, any day, 1st to the 8th. Play it by ear if you want. Always space for you. They then plan some more, and you might think, well, if Elon ever told the truth, this is when he has to reject, right? Because he said, I refused. But actually, it appears to be one of those cases where, like, your friend says, like, oh, bro, I dumped her. And actually, it was the other way. Yeah, it turns out Elon didn't dump the p***. The p*** dumped Elon. He says, bad news. Unfortunately, my schedule will keep me in New York. Hopefully, we can schedule another time in the...
Damn! Imagine being a fucking million/billionaire wanting to go to Epstein's island and then getting fucking rejected by the pedophile himself. That's crazy. Imagine that.
The future. Jeffrey Epstein let Elon down. That's actually the real story. Is the reason he didn't go in 2013 was because he couldn't go. Jeffrey Epstein was not there. Guys, I mean, how blatant do they have to make it before we start to just see through it, right? When they issue these ridiculous denials, they're totally associated with the guy after the guilty plea. They lie through their teeth, but they can't even keep their story straight. I mean, that's what's crazy. They're not even competent at this. They get caught in their own lies all the time.
I just think, like, I really wonder what causes Elon Musk to do it. Because, like, Elon Musk, in theory, didn't have to signal boost it. Like, obviously, he was very vindictive about Trump in the moment because, like, him and Trump were having a bit of a falling out. And so, like, Elon Musk, in a very vindictive way, decided to release a tweet being like, Donald Trump's in the Epstein files. That's what signal boosted Trump being on the fucking Epstein list to begin with. That's what, like, caused this entire fucking thing to get to where it is today. And I almost wonder if Elon was not thinking about... I mean, he had to have known that it would have gotten to this point eventually if he were to tweet something as, like a heavy accusation like that, which we kind of already knew about prior. But, like, I don't know, dude. Like, it almost just feels like Elon had to have known that he was implicated with Epstein to some capacity, right?
Remember, the FBI's official story was they didn't blackmail. Well, before we even had these files, Howard Lutnick was on the record calling Jeffrey Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever.
So how come Bill
Whoa, blackmails? Crazy.
Gates and all these other people could hang around him and not see what you saw? Or did they see it and ignore it? Or
No, they participated.
Right.
That's what his MO was, get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever.
Blackmail?
Interesting. Okay, so Howard has a different perspective. Now, if you don't know, that guy, do you think he's just telling the truth there? Even this guy who's contradicting the official narrative, this guy literally lived next to Jeffrey Epstein.
I think that's the biggest allegation of them all, is that Epstein Island had tons of blackmails on it. Forget all the pedophilia and shit. Nah, I'm just kidding, by the way. I'm just kidding. I love black people. I'm not actually racist. That was a joke.
This guy was like, I'm going to tell the truth. Those guys participated. That guy lives next to Jeffrey Epstein. And by the way, he lied too. I love this video we're about to get into because this guy, Mr. He's the greatest blackmailer ever, does he know something we don't know? Because it's interesting. Mr. I'm his neighbor had to also explain how he had nothing to do with Jeffrey Epstein. And he lays it out pretty simply. He goes, yep, I lived next to him, but in 2005, I had such a horrible experience that I knew I could never talk to him again.
He was your neighbor for 10
It's interesting, though. Like, why wouldn't he just, like... I don't know. It's so weird.
years. How well did you know him?
We move in 2005, okay? Jeffrey Epstein is arrested in like '08, I think, or something like that.
Right.
So knock on the door. His assistant on like a Saturday says, Mr. Epstein, your neighbor would like to invite you over for coffee. And there's a massage table in the middle of the room. Massage table in the middle of your house? How often you have a massage? And he says, every day. And then he like gets like weirdly close to me.
Ooh.
And he says, and the right kind of massage.
Ooh.
Now my wife is standing here. So she looks at me and I look at her and we say, I'm sorry, we have to go. And we left. And in the 6 or 8 steps it takes to get from his house to my house, my wife and I decided that I will never be in the room with that disgusting person ever again.
Well, he couldn't be more clear, could he, right? He says, hey, I may have been his next door neighbor, but I met him once before the 2008 guilty plea. Remember I said that was a big deal? And we got invited over, and it was like 5 seconds, and we left, and we realized he was a creep. We were out of there. He made this rude, lewd comment in front of my wife. I would never go see this guy. I mean, he said...
All right. Is there a plot twist that CoffeeZilla is going to bring up? I wouldn't be surprised at this point. Next door neighbor couldn't get enough of it, maybe? Is that where this is going to go?
Makes it super clear he's gross.
So I was never in the room with him socially, for business, or for even philanthropy. If that guy was there, I wasn't going because he's gross.
These other guys, they may have participated.
They participated.
But Howard Lutnick, he could never. No. He's too good of a guy. Well, guess what we found in the old emails? Looky.
Oh, no. Oh! Caught in 4K. Ugh.
It's Howard Lutnick riding in to Jeffy Boy in 2012. Hi, Jeff. We're landing in St. Thomas early afternoon, planning to head over. Where are you located? What's the exact location for my captain? Does Sunday evening for dinner sound good?
These people are so shameless. Oh, that's so fucked up. My God. And you know what's crazy? If that guy communicated that to, like, you want to know the weird thing? Is if that guy told me that story, like if we were just sitting down in a bar or at like a dinner table or whatever, and he told that story, and like he said that all with a straight face, I probably would have believed him, because he actually legitimately seemed like such a good liar. So I probably would have believed all of it. Normally my intuition is good, but oh my God, I think it's really gross, especially when predators are smart. And that's how Jeffrey Epstein was able to get away with it for so long, because like a lot of these people were smart and they knew the right people. They knew what to do to stay under the radar. They knew the kind of things that they needed to do, the kind of tactics they needed to do. It like really is like fucked up how they were able to keep this operation for so long.
Is this the guy you said made a lewd comment to your wife and, oh, I could never be in front of him? He's gross. Guess what the next email is? My boy's wife messaging in, saying we're headed towards you in St. Thomas. Later, the subject line, Jeffrey Epstein. Good morning, Howard. Jeffrey wished me to pass you along. Nice seeing you. They clearly met, and the guy is just lying about it to your face, to the American public's face, and they tried to hide it from us. I cannot emphasize this enough. They're lying through their teeth. You think this guy perfectly remembers a 2005,
Whoa, billionaires lying. Again, color me surprised.
like walking in the guy's house? I remember exactly what I said to him. My wife and I looked at each other, and he wouldn't remember the 2012. I boated over to his private island for a dinner. Is that what we're really thinking? Is that what we're expected to believe? This is a momentary lapse in his judgment. No, these guys don't even care about being consistent. And they're all throwing each other under the bus. Don't you remember Elon Musk saying, the time to drop the really big bomb, Donald Trump is in the Epstein files?
Yeah, and that's the reason why this whole Epstein stuff went back on the map to begin with, was because of this very tweet that Elon Musk put out.
That's the real reason they haven't been made public. My guy, you also are in the Epstein files, very clearly doing stuff you lied about, okay? So is Howard Lutnick, who says, yeah, Bill Gates, he's probably getting blackmailed because he participated. What did you do on the island over in 2012, Howard? Do we know that? I mean, does anyone care? Now, the last thing I want to talk about is some of the most explosive stuff. It's also, again, I have to say, unverified, okay? This is the NTOC, the FBI's National Threat Operations Center, and the challenge with confirming some of this is that these are anonymous tips, or they black them out at least, so we don't know who they are, and anyone can drop a tip. Now, that doesn't mean that you should disregard them. It just means we can't verify them. The other challenge is that the FBI has a heavy incentive to discredit anything with Donald Trump in it, just because he's in the White House right now, obviously. And so I want to be clear, there are notes related to some of these submissions where they say things like complainant was spoken to and deemed not credible. Additional research showed 3 separate redacted. You know, it's hard to tell how much this is the proper due diligence of the FBI, which they should be doing, of course, and not all complaints are credible. But also there's this obvious conflict of interest with the fact that the sitting president is in some of these complaints. But here they are for what it's worth. Complaint summary. Blank reported an unidentified female friend who was forced to perform on President Trump approximately 35 years ago in New Jersey. The friend told Alexis that she was approximately 13 to 14 years old when this occurred, and the friend allegedly bit President Trump while performing.
See, that's why you gotta... It's very easy to not get bitten during oral sex. It's very easy. 1, don't do it with fucking kids. And 2, do it with consenting adults, or if you're within a reasonable age range. You know, that would be ideal more than anything else. I think so. Yeah, I don't think it's hard to not get bitten during sex.
Friend was allegedly hit in the face after she laughed about biting President Trump. The friend also said she was abused by Epstein. Later, there's very explosive claims about big parties with her, other younger girls, and older Victoria's Secret models, including Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. There's claims.
It's very interesting because, like, a lot of people were like, it's mostly Democrats in the Epstein files, but not a lot of people seem to realize that Donald Trump was, like, a Democrat during the time that he was, like, very much tied to Epstein. And so, like, he would, like, donate tons to Bill Clinton. And not like, again, that's who Donald Trump was at the time. But the conservative party has like just be like devolved so much. Like, it's very crazy how the goalpost has shifted. Like, the conservative party went from like gay or trans people are being groomed at a young age to become these things. And then they like literally straight up defend the president of the United States, who actually was involved in a child sex trafficking ring. So interesting how the goalpost will shift when it's convenient.
Third hand about a female victim of Epstein's who wants to publish a book citing Leslie Wexner, Epstein, Bill Clinton, Donald Trump, Ghislaine Maxwell is in the videos as well. And it goes on like this for a while. Some of the complaints are just like very graphic, and obviously I'm going to censor out some of it. But I should also mention the DOJ claims that some of these claims were submitted to the FBI right before the 2020 election to be...
Yeah, as far as I'm concerned, if it's coming from the DOJ, it's hard to trust considering the DOJ is literally ran by Donald Trump, and they're going to do everything they can to make sure that Trump is not as implicated as possible. And I mean, that's what's going to happen, is they're going to keep dripping more and more information about this whole Epstein ordeal, and they're going to try to like keep Trump as optically ambiguous as possible and like maintain some level of plausible deniability, so that way Trump could look somewhat innocent, even though he's absolutely on the files. And if he wasn't, he would have released all of them by now, but he refuses to do so.
Clear the claims are unfounded and false, and if they had any shred of credibility, they would have certainly been weaponized against President Trump already. Now, I agree that if a complaint is timed right before an election, there definitely could be some other motivations to that, but it's also ridiculous to say that anything in the Epstein files, if it were true, would have come out already, because why didn't we see the stuff about Bill Gates, for example? I mean, that stuff apparently has been sitting in here for a long time, and not only did no one talk about it, the FBI literally, like, covered for it. I mean, they said that this was not the case. There are big claims against a lot of powerful people. Nobody in that file really wants to rock the boat or release the files, because then they get in trouble and their buddies get in trouble, and that's a huge problem. So I don't really buy the idea that, oh, if it were true, it would have already gotten out. I don't buy that. That's why we need transparency. That's why it's important these files are out. But this is just a look at a small fraction of the files. And over the next few weeks, we're going to go through all of the major findings we can from this 3.5 million.
I'm curious to know how many files specifically have been released at this point, because I heard that this recent release was like 7 gigabytes worth of files. But beforehand, it was like 2.5 gigabytes worth of files that were released. And apparently I think there's a grand total of 30 Epstein files, which would mean that only like 9.5 gigabytes of Epstein files have been released out of 30 gigabytes. So there's definitely a lot more in there that we are not seeing. I mean, as if it couldn't get worse, I imagine it's going to get worse the more that gets released.
Page document dump. But seriously, think about how discrediting this has been, not only to this administration, but to so many rich and powerful people who have lied through their teeth happily.
Yeah, pretty much.
Towards you in order to hide their relationship with this man that many of them held post guilty plea. And some of them, now we know, Epstein prepared blackmail for them and, according to reports, threatened.
Crazy stuff. Good coverage from CoffeeZilla as always, and I guess only time will tell how much more we find out about Epstein. I mean, like I said, I think they're going to keep drip feeding it as time goes on, and they're going to try to withhold it for as long as they can.